All right. All right. Look, I'm trying my best not to get too excited because it's not official yet, but it's pretty close to being official. Josina Anderson reported this. I think Ian Rappaport reported this. A lot of reputable sources. And when it comes to the Cleveland Browns, for whatever reason, if Josina Anderson tweets it, it tends to be true. She just is the plug in the organization. She just seems to always be right when she's reporting on something. She obviously has deep ties with Jarvis, Odell, Rashard Higgins. We know about that, but it just seems like Browns news, she knows a lot about it. She seems to be one of the most plugged in and reliable sources of news. So I saw this popping up on a lot of different sources, a lot of people that I trust. But when I saw it on Josina Anderson's account, then things got serious. I had to consider making this video. So I'm going to talk about Jadeveon Clowney, whether he signs with the Browns, whether he doesn't sign with the Browns, because as of recording this video, I don't know if he has. If he has, just know, y'all know how excited I would be about that. But before I get into that, before I talk about what he would bring to this defense and just the offseason overall so far for Andrew Berry, I have to remind you to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and ding that notification bell so you don't miss a single video and so you don't miss the 2021 NFL Draft live watch along with me. Watch this draft with me. 2021, we'll be watching the first round on Thursday and then the second round on Friday. However it goes, I'll be there for the first 2 days of the draft. Come kick it with me. Come join that live stream. You know how my live streams go. So make sure you subscribe, stay notified, and ding that notification bell so you don't miss that live stream. Also, you guys know what I got to do. Got to give a shout out to the patreon.com dog check tier members. And as always, I start with Michael Matique, the most dangerous man in Cleveland, DJ Marino V, Cleveland Cart, Matt H, Greedy Shoulder, Gemini, Liam Freeman, Fight Dirty 74, Yo, Matt Lloyd, Paul Wilcox, Hundo, Magnifico, Rob Ferron, Kyle Stouffer, Lukey from Munich, Deveroff, J Guy 101, Musty Taco, Joe Bobby, Brad Cabo, Dylon W, James McGinty, Arinda Hall, Rex Kaufman, Chad Gimme, David Maldonado, Andrew Sadeo, Dylan Hill, Josh Bendor, Jalil Salim Jr., Martha Crustnut, Mark M, TJ Showman, Stuart Moore, Bubba Regretti, Anthony O, Cleveland BCI, Robert Jermaine Jr., Dave Mike May, John Cummings, Andrew Hirsch, Curtis Bear, Batman Rush Sharir, Barack Kumar, John Albert, Beerman 069, Masayua, Buds of Roland, James Nemo, Mac House, Reeve Hurst, Philip Wilcoxon, Marie Vivert, Keith Anderson, Sean Barron, Goggles Bizano, Corporal Nick Lopez, Dom Gazillo, Nick Nasty, Ian Williker, Colin 216, Anthony Latham, Christian, Matt Bond, Dave Strong, Michael Stone, Soul Train, Charles Work, Billy, Michael Hodenack, Moose Gentry, Austin Z, Mark Burnett II, Andre Griffin, Otis Wolf, IT Rex, Greg Ehlers, Austin Bolin, Kirkabard, Jesus Serrano, Chris Fawn, Pickdown, Browns Backers, Mark Kahn, Johan Hulf, Kevin Johnson, Max Aldojo, and Water Bear Marketing. But again, guys, thank you so much for the support and thank you so much for sticking with me through the offseason. I hope you guys enjoy the content I've been dropping so far. Now let's talk about Jadeveon Clowney on the Cleveland Browns. So obviously we know, right? And I know there's going to be some, I don't want to call them Debbie Downers, but there's always those guys whenever you sign a guy, well, he has an injury history. We know Jadeveon Clowney has an injury history. We know everything that I'm saying and everything that I'm excited about is contingent on him playing at least 14 games, right? And that's not something that he's done a lot of in his NFL career. We know about the injury history. We know it's a risk. We know it's a little bit of a gamble, but let's talk about the gamble. Let's talk about what you're bringing in here. Let's talk about the upside of this signing, and you can't ignore how tremendous that is. And if he's out there, the floor isn't that low. And also, since you signed somebody like Takk McKinley, and you're probably going to get somebody still in the draft, the floor isn't that low, especially when you're not investing franchise type money to Jadeveon Clowney, which again, I don't even know if they signed him yet. I would assume that's not the case given how Andrew Berry likes to go about his business. But actually, first things first, I want to talk about Andrew Berry, because if this happens, right, if he in one offseason signs a top 5 safety in John Johnson III, signs Troy Hill, one of the best slot corners in football, and then Jadeveon Clowney, who is arguably the best fit inside-outside guy you can put across from Myles Garrett, with Malik Jackson, with Anthony Walker. Like, we talked about, this defense needed help. This defense needed to be improved. He did a lot of things, as well as bring back guys like Malcolm Smith along this offseason to really attack this defense. And I think a lot of people, when they heard Andrew Berry was the GM maybe last year, right, during the offseason, one of the concerns was, how aggressive is he going to be? What we liked about John Dorsey was his aggressiveness, was his willingness to spend, was his willingness to wheel and deal. And we were kind of afraid that we wouldn't get that with Andrew Berry. And what Andrew Berry has showed you this offseason is that if there is a weakness on this team, he is not going to be passive in any way, shape, or form about it. And he's not going to sit there and just wait to get lucky, right? He didn't wait to get lucky and see what Grant Delpit's going to be like. No, he went out there and he aggressively got John Johnson III, as well as get him under market value. You know, like, you have to consider these things. Troy Hill, he wasn't waiting to see if Kevin Johnson can stay healthy or something like that. Greedy Williams, right? I assume that they're really going to target on DBs in the draft. By the way, today I was supposed to drop a JC Horn video. That's probably going to drop tomorrow. So knowing that the focus of today was going to be on Clowney, whether he signed or not, I wanted to do the video today. But the JC Horn video, that draft analysis, that's going to come later on this week. So stay tuned. Again, make sure you subscribe, notified, all those great things. But seeing how aggressive he was, right? He saw that the defense was an issue. And a lot of people, including me, thought the defense, personnel-wise, wasn't that bad. You just had a ton of injuries this year. Andrew Berry saying, yeah, I get that. We're going to get some guys back, but we also going to add a ton of dudes to this defense. In a year where cap space was almost halved, you have to applaud Andrew Berry in that, right? If he does this, even if he doesn't, a lot of the aggressive work that he's done on this defense is already done. But if he completes this, puts the cherry on the top by getting Jadeveon Clowney to be next to Myles Garrett on the defense, you have to applaud that. That is the type of aggressiveness that you need from a general manager when you're trying to attack, the rookie year, well, not the rookie year, but the rookie contract Super Bowl window, which is the next couple of years before Baker hopefully gets a long-term deal here in Cleveland. So hats off to Andrew Berry. Respect to Andrew Berry. Look, a lot of people thought, because he was connected so closely to Sachi Brown, that he was going to do some of the things that drove us crazy about Sachi Brown, which was the passiveness, which was the unwillingness to spend, the unwillingness to really be aggressive in trade markets unless he's bringing in assets, the funky games that he played with compensatory picks and missing out on talent because of that, cutting Joe Hayden and all these things that just left a bad taste in Browns fans' mouth. Andrew Berry was connected to that, but he also was connected to that 2018 offseason where they brought in Baker, Jarvis, and all that with John Dorsey. So we didn't know what we were going to get in Andrew Berry. And seeing this aggressiveness when he's in charge, this is a good sign. And also this aggressiveness kind of tied with being smart, right? He's just not throwing crazy money out there. He's getting really good players. Again, a top 5 safety in John Johnson III. And then potentially, like, athletically, most definitely, when you talk about giftedness, the best player you could put next to Myles Garrett. Obviously, he has the injury history. Obviously, that is a huge concern. But if you get him under, market value, which I don't know what they're going to sign him for, but I would assume it is, being that it's this late, then, the risk is mitigated a ton, especially when you have draft picks, when you already brought in a young flyer like Takk McKinley. So all those things aside, you just have to give Andrew Berry a ton of credit, because we were worried that he wasn't going to be aggressive. He showed you he can be aggressive, but he's going to be smart about it. It's kind of the best of both worlds, it looks like right now. The aggressiveness of John Dorsey with the smart, future thinking and savviness of Sachi Brown. It seems like a great combination of both right now. Now let's talk about what y'all really want to talk about, which is Jadeveon Clowney on one side, Myles Garrett on the other, Malik Jackson and Sheldon Richardson on the inside. Oh, now the Browns, if they get this signing done, I don't want to jinx nothing, but if they get this signing done, if they officially do this and add Jadeveon Clowney to the roster officially, they cooking with gas on that defensive line. And you look what they added in the back end, right? You got a safety, you got a top 5 safety. I keep saying that. You got one of the best slot corners. You already have Denzel Ward. You're getting Grant Delpit back. You already have Ronnie Harrison. You have a good thing going there. You're able to bring back Malcolm Smith, so he's a good coverage linebacker. Anthony Walker. All of these things that you're able to bring in, and then you got the one spot where you're questioning what's going to happen there at cornerback 2 with Greedy Williams. He's never really healthy, but you can draft somebody. This year's draft has some decent corners that could be available to you at 26. And now, since potentially if they make this signing, they got edge rusher off the board, then it opens it up clearly to get whatever corner they want. Greg Newsome, J.C. Horn, they can maneuver, be aggressive in that way, and maybe get another corner to add to this. And again, I cannot stress enough how I really appreciate how Andrew Berry has gone about this, right? I said all last year to anybody who would listen, whenever I did a film breakdown on this defense, they just aren't adaptable. They aren't a very versatile defense, and they aren't a very athletic defense, even though they probably have 2 of the best athletes in the AFC on the defensive side of the ball in Denzel Ward and Myles Garrett. Outside of that, there weren't a lot of athletes on the field at a given time. Now you're in a situation where you have massively upgraded your athletic ability in the back end. And if you have Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney on each side of the field, that's the most athletic edge rushing attack in modern football, I would believe. And now, if you have what is reported to be expected to happen today, again, I don't know, but the potential is there. Myles Garrett next to Jadeveon Clowney. That is undoubtedly the most athletic edges any defense is going to offer in the NFL. Myles Garrett was one of the most athletic combine, mysteries, players to come out the draft since Jadeveon Clowney, and he wasn't even as athletic as Jadeveon Clowney. You could argue that Myles has put it together more as a pass rusher when it comes to sacks than Jadeveon has, but Jadeveon is definitely better in the run game. So what this means is that when you're playing Lamar Jackson, right, which is a big deal when you're the Cleveland Browns, you got to play the Baltimore Ravens, and let's keep it real. As much as I think this team has improved, they did not beat the Baltimore Ravens last year, so they do have to get that one off their backs. And in order to beat the Baltimore Ravens, you have to be athletic on your defensive line, especially on the edges. The one play I go to, right, when people are like, why you want to sign Clowney? Why can't we just put Porter Gustin out there? Here's why you can't just put Porter Gustin out there. Because when you don't have athleticism on the edges, what happens with Chad Henne, right, where Chad Henne gets the blow by and all that open space, and he almost gets that first down, almost 20 yards on the quarterback scramble, that's what happens when you don't have athletic or great athletes to set the edge at the pass rushing position. You end up in spots where your entire defensive line coverage is completely blown. And now the Browns, especially Myles Garrett, is in a situation where defenses, well, not defenses, my bad, I'm a little bit excited. Offenses, I don't know what they're going to throw at Myles anymore, right? Last year, it was pretty simple. The only guy we're really worried about, especially when Olivier Vernon was out, is Myles Garrett. So we just going to throw it all at Myles Garrett. 1 head, 2 head, 3 head, right? We used to play that game when I would count and do Myles Garrett film. How many heads on Myles this time? It would be a guard, a running back, a tackle. They would throw a ridiculous amount of resources at Myles Garrett. And they could afford to do that because Olivier Vernon, as much as he is a decent power rusher, he's not a great athletic pass rusher. So one-on-ones, if you have a good tackle on the other side, they can handle him because he doesn't have the great bend. He's not going to be able to get around. Jadeveon Clowney is a much more different situation where he's so freakishly athletic that if you leave him on a one-on-one, he's going to be able to win, especially in the run game. I'll tell you, to be honest with you, I have no idea what a team like the Tennessee Titans, right, where outside edge run team, downhill run team is going to do against that kind of a front if those both guys are here in Cleveland and healthy, right? If Jadeveon signs here, that's the situation. They have both those guys on the edge, that athleticism. I don't know how some teams are going to be able to run the ball to the outside. They're going to have to force things inside. And again, the Browns got better in that area, right? Malik Jackson, Andrew Billings is coming back. I would love to add another name in the draft, another big body, but even there, that's much better than, Larry Ogunjobi, who's a good pass rusher, but not necessarily a great run stuffer from the defensive tackle position. All in all, the word of the day, right, is versatility. Jadeveon Clowney can play inside, he can play outside, he's athletic, and he is one of the best against the run. And I hear a lot of people saying, well, he's not a great pass rusher. He can't really get a ton of sacks. Sacks are one thing. Now, we can get into a philosophical argument, and maybe I'll save this video for another day. I personally don't buy into sacks being solely a defensive end stat. I think they are more of a quarterback stat, so I don't really put as much value as I used to when I started this channel into sacks as I've gotten deeper into like just researching the game and stuff like that. I think of it more as a quarterback stat. Pressures, though, Jadeveon has been able to keep that up. Now, those numbers haven't been what you would have expected out of Jadeveon coming out of South Carolina, but let's be real. We're not drafting Jadeveon #1 overall. We're not drafting him in 2014. We're signing Jadeveon Clowney right before the draft. So the expectations for him aren't going to be #1 overall pick Jadeveon Clowney. We just need him to be what he was in Seattle or, you know, his last few years in Texas, right, where he was a great edge defender and a great run defender and somebody who could set the edge and get pressure and force sacks to the other position. That's what we need, right? Miles is going to eat off that. He's going to eat off that. This is a great situation, and I hope it happens. I hope it gets official, but that's the news. Then my thoughts on it. So if it does happen, you know how I feel about it with the reports that Jadeveon Clowney is expected to sign in Cleveland when he visits today, or whenever you're watching this video. It was Monday. So that's my thoughts on the Jadeveon Clowney thing. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Are you excited about the raw potential that this defense has now, on top of having an offense that put 40 points on one of the best defenses in football in Pittsburgh in the playoffs? Or are you concerned about the injury history? Do you think they have too many players they're relying on that have long injury histories, and that's going to be something like last year that bites them in the butt? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. But again, guys, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Have a good night.